Remember when you couldn't turn on the TV without seeing certain faces everywhere? One day they're on every magazine cover, the next they vanished like smoke. This is the story of America's forgotten stars, the celebrities who disappeared from the limelight and the brutal moments that erased them from our collective memory. Take Brendan Fraser, who ruled the late 90s and early 2000s with the Mummy franchise and countless blockbusters. At his peak, he was Hollywood's golden boy, pulling in massive box office numbers and charming audiences worldwide. Then something shifted. A combination of serious injuries from his own stunts, a bitter divorce, and alleged mistreatment by a Hollywood executive left him physically and emotionally broken. He stepped away not by choice, but by necessity, and Hollywood moved on without looking back. For over a decade, he was a ghost, a punchline in internet memes about celebrities who disappeared. His legacy seemed erased until his stunning comeback with The Whale reminded everyone of the talent they'd forgotten. Or consider Meg Ryan, America's sweetheart of romantic comedies throughout the 80s and 90s. When Harry Met Sally, Sleepless in Seattle, You've Got Mail, she defined the genre and seemed untouchable. Then came 2000, when news broke of her affair with Russell Crowe while married to Dennis Quaid. The public turned on her overnight. America doesn't forgive its sweethearts easily, and the same audiences who loved her wholesome image rejected her completely. She tried grittier roles, attempted to reinvent herself, but the damage was done. The rom-com era ended, and she wasn't invited to whatever came next. Her filmography after 2000 is a ghost town, and an entire generation grew up never knowing who she was. Then there's Rick Moranis, who walked away at the height of his powers. Ghostbusters, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Spaceballs, he was everywhere in the 80s and early 90s. But when his wife died in 1991, he made a choice that Hollywood couldn't comprehend. He quit to raise his kids. Just like that, one of comedy's biggest stars vanished, choosing family over fame in an industry that never forgives such decisions. He didn't crash and burn or face a scandal, he simply left, and Hollywood erased him from its memory banks, continuing on as if he'd never existed. His legacy became a footnote, a trivia question, until a 2020 commercial reminded people he was still alive. The pattern repeats itself over and over. Cuba Gooding Jr. went from an Oscar win for Jerry Maguire to direct-to-video obscurity after a string of terrible movie choices and later serious legal troubles. Pauly Shore rode the early 90s comedy wave until audiences decided overnight they were done with his shtick and he couldn't buy a role in Hollywood. Tara Reid was everywhere in the late 90s and early 2000s until party girl tabloid stories and botched plastic surgery destroyed her credibility, reducing a legitimate actress to punchlines. What these stories reveal is how fragile fame really is in America. The same machine that builds celebrities up takes savage pleasure in tearing them down or simply forgetting they exist. A single flop, one scandal, a shift in public taste, or just the crime of aging in an industry obsessed with youth, and you're gone. The limelight doesn't dim gradually, it shuts off completely, and once you're in the dark, finding your way back is nearly impossible. Some mount comebacks like Fraser, reminding us of what we lost. Others, like Ryan and Moranis, fade into comfortable obscurity, their legacies debated by film buffs but unknown to newer generations. And some are so thoroughly erased that even mentioning their names draws blank stares from anyone under 30. The American entertainment industry is built on a simple truth. You're only as relevant as your last project, your last headline, your last viral moment. Fall off that treadmill for any reason and the industry won't wait for you. It'll find someone younger, cheaper, less complicated, and carry on as if you never existed. That's the real horror story behind Hollywood's glitz and glamour. You can be everywhere one day and nowhere the next. Your entire legacy reduced to whatever happened to think pieces and nostalgic YouTube videos. The limelight is a spotlight, and once it moves on, you're left standing in the dark, watching someone else take your place, wondering if you were ever really there at all.